This sequence will show various waterfowl as well as common inhabitants along Lick Creek and Norfolk Lake. The easily identifiable red-headed woodpecker loves to nest in the various dead and still standing trees anchored in the rocky banks of the creek. As a redhead myself, I share a special affinity with this species. I would see at least one red-headed woodpecker every time I walked down to the canoe launch and Long Bottom. The red-headed woodpecker is distinct from all the other woodpeckers in the area in that the sexes are indistinguishable. Considered to have the broadest diet and widest range of feeding behaviors in the woodpecker family, it is also one of only 4 woodpecker species that store and even hide food. The downy and red-bellied woodpeckers that we see in the other video engage in the same behavior. The red-headed woodpecker is a vigilant defender of territory and may destroy other species' eggs and nests. Unable to excavate its own nesting site, the European starling is common to see down near the creek. They will fight red-headed woodpeckers and take their homes. Starlings can be found elsewhere up the hill, and the aggressive invasive species has a significant range throughout the U.S. Now we will look at a trio from the swallow family, starting with the barn swallow. You will often find swallows down at the canoe launch, Long Bottom, and near the dairy barn. Swallows have body shapes that allow them to fly significantly more efficiently than other birds of a similar size. Long tails increase maneuverability, and the female barn swallow selects a mate based on tail length. The barn swallow is the most abundant swallow in the world with a wide distribution, so there's a good chance you'll see one zooming along the water wherever you go. Tree swallows get their name from their habit of nesting in tree cavities, of which there are plenty down near the creek. The northern rough-winged swallow almost exclusively feeds over water, catching flying insects for its diet. To drink, it skims the surface of the water, collecting some in its wing. Whereas you will only see the swallows in the warm season, the belted kingfishers are a common year-round resident of Lick Creek. Quick to flight, you are most likely to hear the kingfishers before you see them. They produce a drawn-out rat-a-tat-tat type of call as they gracefully fly over the water. Having never captured any good video of kingfishers, you'll have to hear it for yourself. I have a wonderful memory of 3 kingfishers bursting through the canopy of the creek tree line less than 10 feet from my head, chasing each other and so caught up in the battle that it took them a few seconds to notice me staring. Needless to say, I didn't capture that event, but it was a good reminder that the camera can be a major distraction. The true joy in birding is in being present and silently observing the life around you. The camera turns it more into a sport, really, a vain enterprise to share beautiful images with strangers on the internet. Anywho, thank you for being here. I hope this content inspires you to pay just a little more attention to your surroundings as you go about your day. Now we are going to get into the true water birds, both large and small, starting with the ever so common killdeer. Getting their name from their call, which you may be able to make out here in this footage, the killdeer is a noisy plover, which are wading birds that you will find in the sand and mud of the lake's floodplains. Killdeer will pretend to have a broken wing to lure predators away from their nests. They will also puff themselves up and run at cattle to reduce the chances of their nests being trampled. The upland sandpiper is an indicator species, and the absence of these birds in native prairie lands is a clue that something is amiss in that habitat. The great blue heron is an iconic wetland bird for just about the entire United States. A large and imposing hunter, the great blue herons weigh in at a maximum of 6 pounds due to hollow bones, a feature of all birds. The characteristic shape of their neck vertebrae help them to spear their beak into unsuspecting prey. Green herons are just as common as the great blue, however they are not as easy to spot as they tend to stand somewhat concealed on the edges of waterways. One of the world's few tool-using birds, green herons will craft fishing lures from what is available to aid in the capture of small fish. Similar in some ways to the green heron, the American bittern is substantially larger and is heavily streaked. It is much less common to see compared to the great blue and green herons. In a flood year, there is a high chance you will find great egrets down the hill. One year, quite foolishly, I walked the entire length of the hayfields, chest deep in water with my camera to capture these images of this great egret trio. What I later found out is that when one is in a canoe, the birds are a lot less skittish. Great egret nestlings frequently kill their smaller siblings. This behavior, known as siblicide, occurs among hawks, owls, and herons, and is often a result of poor breeding conditions in a given year. Being the youngest of three, I myself have endured attempted siblicide. Hard times, little egrets. A most colorful and picturesque waterfowl, the wood duck is a delight to behold. You really have to be patient and slowly peruse the swampy tree lines to see them. Here we see images of a female wood duck in flight. The wood duck is the only North American duck species to produce 2 broods regularly each year. Busy, busy. The pied-billed grebe. What a funny fellow. In Latin, grebe means feet at the buttocks, and these feet help to efficiently dive in water, but present an awkward gait on land. Here's 2 marginal pictures of a Louisiana waterthrush. These warblers have a primary diet of aquatic insects, mollusks, and crustaceans, but they will also forage amongst leaf litter and may even take to hunting salamanders. We will end our adventures along Lick Creek with some footage of wild turkeys crossing the creek at the canoe launch. Why did I zoom out at the worst possible time? Amateur move, no doubt.